Welcome back to Columbus, Ohio, post-game against El Salvador. A good game is what most of the critics are claiming. Max, how do you assess it?
Absolutely. Another good performance for Canada. A very solid 90-minute performance for Canada. Against Jamaica, we saw lapses, and they did break through the Canadian backline a couple times in LA. But here today in Columbus, such a solid performance from the Canadian backline. And of course, Ali Gerba with his fifth goal in the last 4 games. He's now the all-time leading scorer for Canada at the Gold Cup, and he comes through when you need him. So another excellent goal by Ali tonight, and that got Canada the win at the end of the game.
Arguably compact at the back and pacey up front. Who do you think were the key players in this match?
Well, when you talk about pace up front, Josh Simpson brought a different angle to the attack that Marcel de Jong had been involved with in LA. Josh had good pace down the left wing. Sometimes the ball got a bit out of his control, and Canada did have a couple turnovers in that regard. But Will Johnson with a fantastic performance down the right wing, also showing lots of pace. But for Will Johnson, the key for him tonight was his work ethic. Up and down the pitch at a tremendous rate, making tackles, and his play on the ball was very calm, very relaxed, and he's really showing a great maturity for such a young player.
Arguably, the best performance this evening went to our man of the match, Atiba Hutchinson. You spoke to him in the press conference, and he certainly singled out a few critical areas where he was doing well. How do you think he's done well?
Well, I think the key for Atiba is his fitness, and I'm so surprised by this because I asked him in the press conference, how are you so fit? You're supposedly in your off-season, and he basically responded that Steven's been working him hard at training, he's been doing his own work, and this really shows on the pitch. He's involved on the defensive end, he's involved in the attack, but what he's done best is really control the midfield, won important balls at important times, and along with Julian and Patrice, who are doing such a good job in the middle, Canada has a real potent midfield right now.
Yeah. Speaking of Stephen Hart, how do you feel that he's worked this team into a well-drilled, compact side? And how do you feel that's going to line up against Costa Rica?
Well, for so many supporters, this must just accentuate the frustration we had with Dale Mitchell. Stephen has been very humble about it and is not willing to take too much credit for the change in the team. But when you look at how well organized this team is compared to how they were playing during World Cup qualifying, it's really night and day. As you said, they're compact at the back. Their attacking 4-3-3 system translates very well into a defensive 4-5-1. The players know their roles, and it just seems like they're very well drilled, well rehearsed, and they're playing with a creativity, because I think Stephen has a looseness to his feel with the team. He's at one time firm, but at one time very relaxed with the players, and that shows in the press conference with Ali. They had a very casual handshake afterwards, and he really seems to be on their level, connecting with the players, and maybe that's where Dale Mitchell went wrong. There were a lot of questions about his ability to make a genuine connection with the players, but there's no doubt that Stephen is doing that right now.
Relaxed as they were coming out of the dressing room this evening, how do you feel they're going to approach Costa Rica and then hopefully go on from there?
Well, as Stephen was saying in the press conference, Canada's not out of the woods yet. A win by both El Salvador and Costa Rica with the right configuration of goals, and we'll have to examine the rule book, but if it does come down to head-to-head, that could come into play as well. So Canada, as I say, is not into the clear yet for the knockout stages, but obviously a draw would do it for them. But Stephen mentioned in the press conference that he won't be playing for a draw. He sees that as a dangerous strategy. I expect Canada may rest some players, maybe not too many of the crucial players, but certainly there are guys like Issy on the bench, Marcel, who only got a couple minutes tonight, Jamie Peters. These are all exciting young players that we're going to want to try get into the mix, and if we're going to do it in this tournament, now would be the time to try. And I expect we may see a few changes, but expect the de Guzmans, the Hutchinsons, the Stalteris, the McKennas to be a part of that game against Costa Rica.
Indeed, the time is now. Join us in Miami when Canada will be playing Costa Rica to make it through to the next round. Until then, good night.